All right.
So before we start, so the route is going to be different, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, I just
what?
say just go ahead and do the route that both y'all are comfortable with doing, and we'll just adjust as the
Hmm.
as the run goes on.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that works.
I like that.
All right, so I see both y'all on the start screen.
Hmm.
Ahmad, you're ready to try to do this with me?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
All right,
All right.
so counting down from five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
And good luck, have fun.
Good luck.
And for those that are watching both Slurpees and HA streams, this is LV Creed, hoping to do some commentary with my man Ahmad that's around here. Say hello, Ahmad.
Hello. How are you doing?
We're doing good as we see both of our guys going through Concrete Man stage, which is pretty much our de facto starting point in the Mega Man 9 run. As you see, we are running as Mega Man. Since Mega Man 9, we kind of go back to our roots, so we don't have our sliding or charge capabilities. So Mega Man is pretty much going to be back to its bare minimum as we start with Concrete Man, which is really going to be one of the more basic stages, one of the ones that we really don't need items for. So as you can see, both of our guys just turn through our 3 elephant mid bosses very quickly. So right now we just going through the stage pretty much casually. Nothing too much to say. Ahmad, do you have anything to add about this stage that we need to know about?
No, like you said, the elephants are the only real bad thing about the stage. You have to mash them down really fast if you want to save time, and of course, we don't go for the weakness order here. Otherwise, we would start from Splash first, isn't that right?
Splash is definitely one of the more viable options. Splash Woman does take double damage for the Buster, but we do Splash much later for very obvious reasons, which you will see later on. Of course, both our guys are about to go to Concrete Man's room, and Concrete Man, a very simple boss in for the most part, but still has some RNG situation where we kind of want to avoid. Of course, we don't want him to jump. We want him on the ground as much as possible. And as you see, we're gonna be very close to Concrete Man because his concrete shot it does spread a three shot. But if he gets up close, you can probably see them all just cluster up into one pretty much shot. We got good kills on both our sides, actually.
Seemed like a 154 kill for Slurpee and 159 for Jack, so 5-second difference here.
And of course, we start here because the concrete shot with both of our guys got is very, very strong. One of the best weapons in the game. Actually, most of the weapons in Mega Man 9 is extremely good as we go to our next stage in Magma. So, Amai, would you like to tell us what we're going to be expecting in Magma Man stage?
Yeah, so Magma is it's probably one of the hardest, if not the most difficult stage in the game. So we're going to swap to concrete pretty fast here at the early stage, and we're going to use concrete not only to transform these enemies into concrete blocks, but we're also going to freeze these flame pillars, and here's actually going to be the first skip on Slurpee's screen. And it seems like he's going to do it just fine. Nice. That's actually really difficult trick, and it seems like Jack has to skip it for not going fast enough. But up next, we're going to have a dragon. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the dragons should be pretty easy on these guys. They're gonna be just plugging 5 concrete shots as fast as possible so they can make sure they can one cycle the dragon. So we got kind of a slower kill on Slurpee's end, but HA pretty much just did it perfectly. So pretty much just done with the halfway point in the stage, and we're gonna continue with the half of the stage. As you can see, these concrete shots is just used a lot in this stage, and you even saw these little concrete zips. You can get inside the concrete hitbox once it forms a block, and by jumping, as soon as you get caught in the block, you can do just a little zip that saves probably about a few frames and move faster.
Oh.
Slurpee having a little bit of issue taking an unfortunate dive into the magma. AJA getting the advantage as a result.
That's also really punishing death because the checkpoint is just after the dragon, and you kind of spend every single concrete shot in the stage. So now you have to wait all of these flame pillars because you don't have the concrete energy anymore.
So for Magma Man on AJ's and we got ourselves a bit of an interesting scenario. We do not have the weakness for this boss, so we're gonna be plugging the limits just all over the places, making sure to watch how he jumps. He can jump high for 2 block spaces or one for a shorter space, but we don't have the tornado blow, which is the weakness. While it is a little faster, we actually go to Tornado Man a little later on because it's actually faster to go through Tornado Man stage with a little bit of extra equipment.
That is right, and as you can see, the iframes of these bosses are really, really fast. So actually, even with Buster, this fight is really fast. And also, if you even if you use the weakness, the tornado blow against Magma, you can even finish the fight with full energy on tornado blow, which is kind of weird in this game, to be honest.
So yeah, we got AJA going to Hornet Man third. Actually, we might see a divergence here. There are actually 2 viable routes that you can go to, as you got the weaknesses for 2 bosses at this point, thanks to our current routing. HIA is opting to do Hornet, which we do have the weakness in Magma Bazooka. I believe Slurpee is probably going to go to Galaxy, in which we do have the weakness in the concrete shot. Both of these are very viable. The only difference is just some menuing, but other than that, these two are equally fine for going third. And we got the God Flower on HJA's again. You always want that flower mid boss as close to the top as possible, so you can just plug them with another 5 shots of concrete. There are other places where you can work it, but they can cause some very hairy time loss. Meanwhile, Abaki, you talk about how Galaxy is going for Slurpee since he started.
It's going pretty good so far. He's going for the first copter section here with these little, whatever you call them, helicopters. And they will just carry you around, and I guess their point is to get pushed down with the spike. Slurpee is just going to jump over them and have been dealt with them pretty fast. And that's pretty much the only gimmick, the teleporters and those little copters in the stage. Pretty straightforward, and there's a couple of little tricks that will help you in the stage, but other than that, the Galaxy is pretty easy.
AJ takes quick work of Hornet Man using his weakness to Magma Bazooka. One of the special properties of the Magma Bazooka, especially towards bosses, is that damage can stack. So you want to put as much of the charge Magma Bazooka shots as close to Hornet Man as possible so you can deal heavy amounts of damage so you can kill him as quickly as possible. And from there you get the Hornet Chaser, which is yet again one of the more awesome weapons in Mega Man 9 amongst a plethora of good weapons. And at this point, Galaxy is going to be next on his end.
I have never seen this, but I believe Slurpee is actually going for this task strat here with concrete. I have never seen this strat, but he actually chose to use concrete early in the stage to speed things up, and actually, well, he didn't even use coil, so he actually saved the menu. So that was very well executed by Slurpee.
So the Galaxy fight, we are hoping for 2 swoops, and we don't even get 1 swoop as Galaxy Man just decides to go up and decides to fire his black hole bomb. One of pretty much what you do not want to see. You want to see Galaxy as grounded as much as possible, and the best possible pattern is he does what we like to call 2 swoops, where he just swoops around across the boss room pretty much twice, and you can just plug him with 7 concrete shots in rapid succession and just take him out quickly. So a little unfortunate on Slurpee's end as far as RNG goes. Hopefully we see better luck from HJA's side, but at this point we're pretty much just going to be swapping stages as Slurpee's going to be doing Hornet while we're seeing HJA continue on with Galaxy.
Yeah, you see Jack actually utilizing coil here, while Slurpee used concrete throughout the entire stage. So, as you can see, it's definitely not any slower. I think the only difference is the menu, but of course Slurpee knows more about that than me. But it looked really nice, and I believe he's going Yeah, he's going for the jump there. That's really tight as well, if you want to do it with one jump only. So let's hope for good luck for AJ here. See those swoops. Bad flower for Slurpee as well, the 9 o'clock position. Oh, that is perfect luck from
Absolutely.
HJA.
So I'd probably say we have to give an estimate on who's quote unquote in the lead. We're probably gonna have to say AJ. Right now, AJ has some pretty good luck in his run right now. And of course, Slurpee, while having some RNG issue, also took a bit of unfortunate death in Magma. But Slurpee is one of the top runners, second place in the current leaderboard standings, so he can make up quite a bit of time very quickly. But this is Mega Man 9. This game is not. It's unforgiving.
Anything can happen at this point. There is a pretty significant lead for HJA at the moment, but like you said, this game is very brutal, so anything can happen. Definitely not over yet at all.
So we're beginning where our stages are going to converge for a little while until our next separation set. So we're going to be seeing Jewel Man stage. Jewel Man stage is kind of a bit of a complex stage. A lot of interesting and rough platforming along the way. You've seen AJA utilizing a lot of Hornet Chasers to save a little bit of menu work. But one of the more interesting things about this stage, well, we're gonna have ourselves a mid boss in a moment, our glorious cheese ball, where we're hoping to get a. I would like to say this some decent positioning. You want him to be as close to the right side of the boss room as possible, so you can just plug him with either Mamazooka shots. You might see concrete shot. Well, whichever the case may be, you want to see him as close to the right as possible, so you can just exit out of the room. As far as this stage goes, I want to say it's kind of similar to a ROM hack. Lots of treacherous platforming, lots of awkward spikes placement, especially this little swing area here that HA just went by. So this stage is pretty complex, a little bit rough, but as you can see, both our runners can just handle it fine. In the meanwhile, we see HA going to Jewel Man stage. Amon, would you like to describe the Jewel Man fight right quick for us?
So Jewel actually jumps only when you jump, so we're going to manipulate that at our advantage and use the black hole bomb right at the beginning of the fight, and just basically force him to jump into the black hole bomb. And the fight is over. That's just like that. It's pretty straightforward and easy. Also, Jack actually used a magma bazooka right after the mini boss. Obviously, since you already had the weapon equipped, might as well, but Slurpee is using concrete here instead. Which again, it's one of the strats pretty much Slurpee only uses himself, but it's as effective and works, so why not?
So after Jewel, this is going to be probably one of our next set of diversions between our runners. But first and foremost, by the time we get to our fifth Robot Master after being Jewel Man, we actually get the Rush Jet. This is the main reason why we say Plug, Splash, and Tornado for the last three. These three stages have the most possible uses for the Rush Jet, and we're going to be using it throughout the rest of these stages. For Plugman on HGA screen, we're going to be using Rush Jet to try to negate these Yoku blocks, and especially because they are cycle based, you want to make sure that you want to get these Yoku cycles as good as possible. That's why we have a little thing in the Mega Man 9 community called the Perfect Plug, where you can just go through the stages and manipulate the Yoku blocks in such a way that you won't be stopped by any of them. Meanwhile, we got, as we said, we got our divergence. We got Slurpee going to Splash. Would you like to describe Splash's stage a little bit?
Yeah, Splash is well. There is another world level in the game, but this is the only Robot Master world level. Of course, there has to be one. Not so much strategy-wise going into the stage at the beginning, except when you reach the bubble part. It's pretty much the same as in Mega Man 5 when you're riding the bubbles vertically up. Instead of obviously using Super Arrow, we're going to use Rush Jets as we have it now. And the first two screens are pretty easy, but the third one is super hard since you have to avoid the spikes on top of it. So hopefully Slurpee will get this.
Shout outs to the big mama up on the HJA's end. And while Slurpee's doing the bubble skill, talk about Plugman. You got exact ammo to kill Plugman with the dual satellites, in which HJA did perfectly. So, otherwise, if you didn't have this, this would probably be one of the more annoying fights casually if you don't have a weakness. But AJA just did all he needs to do, and he'd be going on to his next stage. Meanwhile, continue talking about what you see on Splash Woman's stage.
Yeah, he's going vertically on top of these platforms, utilizing Jet pretty much throughout the entire stage after the bubble skip, and coming actually to the boss fight here. So we're going to use Hornet Chaser here, and there's a lot of different strategies for this, but I think Slurpee is going to shoot some Hornets left and right at the beginning of the fight to get a couple of hits in, just like that, and he's going to continue with the wiggle shots and left side kill, which is the faster one. So that was very nicely done by Slurpee.
So yeah, one of the things about the career routing for our last three bosses is that amongst all else, you want to do Plugman stage before Tornado Man, so you can have the weakness for Tornado Man. You can't do Tornado Man early, but you're not gonna have the weakness for Tornado, which makes the Tornado Man fight very long. So you're gonna see actually both our runners switch stages, so they can at least have Splash and Plug down before they do Tornado. So at this point, we're pretty much just going to be seeing some retread territory until we get to Tornado. This would probably be a good time for donations. Yeah, that's probably one of the things we're going to have to know. There are probably going to be some points where we're going to have to figure out where we're going to have some donations. Otherwise, this probably can be quite a pretty talk-heavy game between the races. There is so much to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
Probably between stages.
True.
Yeah, assuming both of y'all are in a close enough sync that y'all can actually allow us to do so. But
Good point. We'll be tied. We're gonna tie, so it's gonna be fun.
Waiting for the first Wily stages, obviously, or between Wily stages, is definitely one of the spots where we can use donations.
right.
So, I believe Jack actually missed the global cycle of Plugman, while, if I'm seeing this right, Slurpee is getting it. So he hasn't stopped a single moment. Yeah, he's going to get this. There we go.
Yeah, I missed it. That's the thing. I won't be talking during the actual thing, don't worry.
Yeah, I know. So, Cree, tell me about Tornado Man.
Tornado Man stage is probably one of the more interesting stages. You do not want, basically you almost want to do no platforming at all, especially on these rotating magnet batteries kind of things. They're slower to ride on, and it's much more work to use something like Rush Core or Rush Jet, just pretty much any rush item to skip using them at all. So as you can see, AJA doing the vertical section using the Rush Coil, you should be switching to Rush Jet very soon. Yep, just utilizing a little bit of kind of precarious platforming, but it's still able to just get through the area fine. So yeah, right now that's pretty much part of what Tornado Man stage is going to dish out. In the second half of the stage, you're going to see there's going to be a little bit of a weather gimmick as the climate has changed. Right now, you're seeing that we're dealing with some ice physics as the snow goes across the ground. This stage, as you expect from the last three, pretty much just requires heavy uses of rush items, especially the jet for the areas that AJA is about to come to right now, because now we're about to deal with wind physics as the rain pours down. In this part, the wind is actually blowing towards Mega Man, so anytime you jump up into the air, Mega Man is going to be pushed back, so you want to be as grounded as much as possible to make as much use of vertical movement as possible. However, that's going to change as HA goes to the second half, where the wind actually going to be blown behind Mega Man, where you want to be in the air as much as possible to utilize the extra speed as the wind pushes you along the way. So right now, HA is just moving along very quickly as we go to the Tornado Man fight. Slurpee not too far behind. Gonna be doing the exact same things as HA has done, but now we're gonna deal with the Tornado Man fight. What about the Tornado Man fight that makes this a little interesting?
So
Oh my
Tornado
god.
Man, but Tornado Man can give you a lot of trouble with the RNG. He can jump very high or medium jumps and just stay up in the air while you have to try to utilize your block ball to hit him and kill him as fast as possible. Apparently, HJ just got the best possible patterns, and Tornado Man just pretty much stood there and took all the hits in. And what else would you want from him except that? So let's see what Slurpee's getting out of it.
Yeah, you want Tornado Man to be pretty much a bro in these fights, so you don't want him to be in the air at
Perfect.
all.
That's perfect RNG for both of them. That's actually something you don't really see very often. So up for a good race here.
So we got HAA first of the two runners into Wally 1. Wally 1, once again, is going to be tested on all your Mega Man know-how right now. You can be a little safe and use the dual satellite to get by all these weaker enemies, but that does require an extra menu. So if you really want to go a little bit high tier, you want to stick with the Buster and then go to the Rush Jet so you can save a little bit of menu. And once again, rush items are going to be key throughout this entire stage. You're going to be using Rush Coil and Rush Jet a lot to skip a lot of the awkward platforming, especially these platforms that would normally rise if you use a Tornado Blow, which was the intended method. So once again, Rush Jet coming through clutch, so you don't have to worry about it at all. And we're gonna be sticking with the rush items, so we don't have to do uh, any more menuing than necessary. But of course, we come back to the dragon. We're gonna see HAA use the rush jet in combination with the concrete shot to kill him as fast as possible. Slurpee might actually use a different tactic, but we're gonna see if he does it a little bit later. As we continue on, more rush jet uses as we try to get by these magma jets. And right now we're gonna be pretty close to the end. So as we have HAA getting closer to our boss, so Amon, tell us about what probably is the worst boss in Mega Man 9.
So these are the spike pushers coming up next for HJA, and you basically just have to use either Buster or I believe you can also use Block Ball here to basically push back these spikes against the boss enemies, and you have to do this well. I can't remember how many times, but yeah, 13 times, yeah, and then I believe after 7 times, HJ is going to change to Tornado and finish it off instead of Plug. But usually Plug is the option for most players, but top players like HJ will probably use Tornado here.
So once again, this team you use the tornado to blow all the spikes at once.
Yeah.
Hopefully you were supposed to use all of them to get all the last 4 spike pushers and just kill them all in succession. The spike pushers have a means to actually push these spike balls, which are instant by the way, back at you. So it's just a hassle to try to rhythmically time your shot to just keep the balls pushing onward so they can just get these kills. But AJ does do the job, so he's in Wally 2. So what makes Wally 2 interesting?
What makes it interesting indeed? It's not only probably one of the most difficult stages in the entire game, but also there's a couple of different strats you can go for in the stage. You can either go like Handsome Jack is doing jet strats, or you can use slightly faster variation of using concrete at the very beginning of the stage. Also, it does have water, like I mentioned before. There's another water level, and this is like half of it is filled with water. And it also has the flower from Hornet stage, so expect RNG just like we're seeing in HGA right now, and he's actually getting the 7 o'clock position, which is still pretty good, right?
Yeah, I would say that's moderately good luck. It gets you close to the exit point faster. but you still probably want them at the upper portions of the area, obviously.
Oh, I missed it. Did Slurpee actually use concrete all the way?
Not sure. Sometimes we can get a little disjointed and following two runners at once.
Alright, well, Jack is actually going through the water section. There's a couple of really, I believe 4 frames or something when it comes to those jumps, so they are pretty tight. Otherwise you will bonk your head against the ceiling and pretty much drop down to the spikes below. So there's a couple of really difficult jumps as well. And now he's going to utilize coil to get past these ladders way faster than usually. Even this little ladder jump there with the coil, which is very tricky. So very nice job by HGA so far.
Yeah, Slurpee's doing just as fine. Like you said, these jumps in these underwater sections are very treacherous. These 2 tower high jumps is very. You won't be surprised to see anyone just bonk your head and fall down to the spikes. It's just a really annoying area. But in the meanwhile, HGA is doing this 3-part boss fight, the Mega Mech Sharks. All of them are weak to the same weapon, so you're gonna be seeing a whole lot of laser trident. So of course you see the first part where where the missiles are open, that's where the weak spot is. And with some clever back and forth shooting, you get the under part. HGA takes care of that area quickly enough. And now the third part where you deal with the mouth and the head, shooting these decently damaging lasers, but of course the laser cannons is actually the weak point, and we got ourselves a pretty quick fight at HJA's then. Meanwhile, Slurpee is about to do the same fight, which I'm assuming he's gonna be just as fast and should be following HJA to Wally 3 shortly.
That was a good fight by HGA, and there is some very slight RNG when it comes to the mouth opening, whether it's faster or slow, and I believe HGA just got the fast pattern, while I don't think it was the fastest by Slurpee, but he will handle the situation all the same, so that was a great fight by both of them. So, Gree, tell me about the stage, which I believe every Mega Man 9 run allows, which is the Easy Devil.
Well, before we get to that devil, first we're gonna have to deal with some Resident Sleeper portions. Wally 3 is a stage I would like to say this is a place where it's a Resident Sleeper stage that shouldn't completely be slept on. As you can see, one of the main gimmicks is this rising vertical area where the gravity just slowly lifts you up to several sections of the screen until you get to the next transition point. You can only move by the recoil of weapons. So this is going to be another rush heavy stage where you're going to be using rush coil a lot to get some added heights amongst some areas. But of course, when you don't have these vertical auto scroller sections, you're going to have to be careful with some of the platforming. There are some very precarious jumps with spikes along the way. Even here, even though it's still auto-scrolling, there are spikes that are laden across the area, and you gotta utilize your buster shots properly to maintain proper momentum so you don't push yourselves into the spikes. Also, as you can see HJA doing, he's gonna go to the far left so he can utilize this helicopter enemy so he can get this intake, which is pretty necessary and highly useful for the rest of the run. As you can see, he uses it pretty much easily so he can use to refill all his weaponry. It's going to be very important as far as refights go. But once again, like I said, be done with our Resident Sleeper part, but now you got to stay awake because now you got to have to deal with some very questionable platforming where you don't want to jump a little too high on spikes. You could use tornadoes to blow away the enemies as well. I've seen some runners do that, but you run the risk of jumping high as the tornado blow gives you extra height. So you're going to be seeing a lot of laser trident, which also has a piercing effect and goes to enemies as well. So we got HJA first in our twin devil fight. Ahmad, what's interesting about the twin devil?
Well, pretty much the only interesting thing about the whole thing is that you have to wait until the eye opens up or comes out from the jelly, and then we're going to pause popper using black hole bomb, and that seemed like the easy devil for Jack to me, so good job.
Oh yeah, that's pretty easy.
Let's see how Slurpee does it. So, of course, like I said, you have to wait for a bit until you see the red eye popping out from the green devil, and not the orange devil. And just time it out perfectly, and then Slurpee starts his boss buffering, throwing out bombs, and that seems like he's got it. So nice. Easy devil for both. And then, Greed, tell me about the refights, which seems to be a bit different when it comes to Mega Man 9, and a lot more difficult than in most Mega Man games, so how about it?
Yeah, but first and foremost, you gotta deal with these areas that need concrete shot in order to block some of these laser barriers. You're going to be damage boosting through some of them to preserve concrete, which is going to be very important as the boss rush goes on. But for HAA, he's going to try to manipulate some RNG. So we're going to hope that HAA manipulated screen so we can get a couple of two swoops, and it looked like he got it. Yep. So there's a little bit of a delay that HAA done in order to visually allow Galaxy Man to do two swoops every single time. So according to that visual cue, was able to do it. Slurpee hopefully should do the same. Otherwise, for the most part, the boss rush is going to be exactly the same throughout. You're going to be using weaknesses for all the main bosses except for concrete, which you do have the laser trident for. So until we get to the refights, we're going to wind up having just a good old boss rush time, and this will probably be a good point for some donations.
Yeah, definitely. You see actually slight difference when it comes to boss order here on Slurpee and Handsome Jack. And I believe the only reason why Slurpee does this is to make the menus a bit more tolerable and easier. I can't see it being any more faster. Of course, I am no expert, but I believe it's the menu order why Slurpee is doing this. And so far, seems like they're getting pretty good RNG from the bosses. And like I said before, this is all connected, so we don't get a breather between the Wily, the refights and the Wily fights. So this is all going in one go, which makes this extremely difficult. Of course, when you kill these bosses so fast, it doesn't really matter since you're going for the last fight with full health either way. And I believe HTA is on the last refight here with Impact Concrete, excuse me. There we go.
Been 11 talk coming from
Mm,
you.
please say impact.
There we go. The first phase of Wily is just bouncing these dinosaur balls back into his jaw. It's a little fun mini game, which actually requires rhythm, and once you get that rhythm down, it's pretty simple and easy. And second phase, we see Wily either going back and forth or vertically back and forth, and we actually want to see the latter, since we can use concrete to shoot the jaw with concrete shots. And if you haven't spent any extra concrete shots to this point, then we can actually finish the fight without actually spending all of our concrete shots.
Of course, that all pales in comparison to the actual real final boss, the Wally Capsule Casino, where you just gotta hope that he comes down at any given time. Right now, both of these guys are very close to each other. All it just takes is one awkward bit of RNG, and the leak can slide at any given moment. You want him to be on the ground if possible. That's time on HJA's end. Very good run from HJA. So yeah, the Wally Capsule is one of the most random fights. He can literally go anywhere, he can fire from anywhere, and your weakness is the plug ball, which is a ground-based weapon. So yeah, you're not gonna be hoping that he goes into the air anytime soon, as you can see on Slurpee's end. Right now, Slurpee is just having a really rough go, and that's time on Slurpee's end. GG to both our runners. That
GG.
really good stuff here. But as you can see, the Wally Castle, this how much of a time swing you get. Right, Slurpee has her 31-30 to his name. The casino just barely much added over 2 minutes to his time. That's pretty much how crazy the Wally Capsule is. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Ahmad, you got anything to say?
Slurpee even actually used coil there, and then quickly swapped back to Puckball just to get a few extra hits in. Obviously, that's a time loss since you're using an extra menu, but you gotta do what you gotta do in a race, and I believe that's also a very viable strategy when it comes to the Wally Casino fights. And yeah, good job, good race by both.
But yeah, I think at this point we're probably just want to just do our quick shout outs and probably just let the HGDQ just cut us off from here so we can just move on. We're still technically behind schedule, but all in all, I think our rehearsal pretty much went well. Just hopefully Juan Rufio when he gets into the call and does commenting with us
Into the
will
fray. Right.
contain this as well.
Yeah. But yeah, this works just fine. You being the main commentator, and we will just provide some insights from the background, and that works.
Yeah, I think it went pretty well.
Did great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I kind of wanted this. I was hoping to get some last minute studying from y'all to run that. At some point, just have at least an idea of what routing y'all gonna do and how
Mhm.
to differentiate how things are gonna go. Because as we just know, y'all pretty much has some different ways to go on some areas. So
Yeah.
So one thing that you might
I'm
want to
not-
mention, there is a reason that I go Hornet third. That reason is because if you lose track of, or if you lose control of the copter, and you're not jumping at the right time, it's designed to push you right into spikes, right?
Yeah,
The only weapon that can kill it is Hornet Chaser. So
Yeah.
that's
And
why
that
I
is
go Hornet third.
So me doing that task strat was incredibly stupid. Because you have to like if you miss that concrete zip, you're pretty much dead. There's no coming back from it. You have like I don't know, like a quarter of a frame to like put that input in. Otherwise, you'll die.
But yeah, that's a good point, Jack. I gotta remember that. So there's an actual reason behind going Hornet first.
I had the worst luck possible through the whole run. I almost caught up.
And then I think like most people do Galaxy third just to get the RNG out of the way. If you reset earlier, it's better.
Mhm.
But for marathons and races,
It's safe,
unless you're a madman.
and you don't want to be a madman, right?
Yeah, I believe Galaxy.
Mm. Absolute madman.
So, what about donations? I mean, we already kind of discussed about this, but like, what would be the least?
Like, I think between stages, if you can get us both there, another downtime. So like, you'll look at it, but like, if one of us is between stages and then one of us is like at the beginning of Splash Woman's stage,
The big
like, that's
downtime is
perfect
like
time.
also between Wily stages as well. Like Y-brows, that's the big
between
one.
Wily stages. I think the
Please somebody
start
say
of-
Y-brows.
Yeah, I think the start of Splash Woman is I mean, you can pretty much do the beginning of Concrete too if there's early donations. Beginning of Concrete until you get to the elephants, and then the end of Concrete until you get to Concrete himself. Then Magma's pretty much a shit show the entire time, so you don't want to stop anything there. I would say at the beginning of Galaxy Man stage, you could probably get away with some stuff.
Yeah, probably.
Wily 3.
Probably, yeah, while we're dancing.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
while
Exactly.
Yeah.
the Wily stages for the most part, between the Wily stages, but Wily 1 and Wily 2, there's too much going on, but Wily 3 is a nice little break until you get to the platforming section at the end. So I would say those places
So realistically, how many donations would you like to hear during the run?
Uh,
2 or 3, or even more or less?
probably more. 'Cause,
I'd probably say like 5.
Okay.
5?
5 to 7, yeah.
It's 5, yeah, 5 rounds of donations. Like, if
Oh,
they
5
were
rounds.
not
Okay,
quick.
okay.
Yeah. Not like.
Not like 5 donations, but like 5 of like a couple of
quick
donations here and
donation.
there, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You could read 2 donations at the beginning of Splash Woman or something, and then you can read, another 2 during the first Wily Castle eyebrow scene.
Hmm.
Like, give it a good amount of fun.
Who's the host?
Sakura Tsubasa.
Oh, by the way, it just went even earlier, the schedule.
Oh, what?
Now.
It's not even midnight anymore for me.
Is it like at 2:45 or something for my time? It'd be like 11:45 for you guys.
11:57 p.m. for me, so that's
Oh, nice.
what?
That's
like-
2:57 for me.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I can wake up. I mean, I did it today, but who knows about tomorrow?
4:57. Wow.
Yeah, time is we're starting to get